Every episode so far, I've been checking things. Pushing back, verifying, catching errors before they weren't happen. This time the opposite, on purpose. Gave AI one real task, start to finish, and told myself no corrections, no pushback whatsoever. Enhance me at each step. I accept it and move on. Just see what actually happens when nobody's watching. Task was short, research brief, multiple steps, gather points, organize them, and draft a summary. First step came back fine, generally fine, no notes. Second step is sorted those points into categories, and one category label was a little off. Not a wrong exactly, just a broader than it should have been, lumping two different ideas under a heading that doesn't quite fit either. A normal day, I fixed that instantly, 10-second edit, this time, nothing. Let it stand, move to the next step, and that mislabeled category just sat there, now baked into the accepted structure. Third step, it wrote the actual summary paragraph of the category structure, and because one category had two mismatched ideas crammed under a single label, the paragraph did something subtle. Blended two different ideas together like they were one point, softening both of them into something vaguer than either was on its own. This is the moment it got tempting to step in. Output still read fine, professional, coherent, nothing screaming error, error at you, but it was quietly building on a small crack from two steps backwards. And now that crack was baked into the actual content, not just the outline. Stuck with the rule, no corrections, kept on going. So, the final step turned the whole thing into a polished brief ready to hand on off. This is where it really showed. The finished brief read fine on the surface. If you did handed it to me cold, I did have called it professional and usable. But that one blended softened section was the weakest part of the entire document. And weak in a way that you did only catch it if you happen to know what was the original separated points actually were. Nobody's reading the final version, flags it, doesn't look broken, looks like a metaphorical paragraph sitting in an otherwise decent document. And the metaphorical paragraphs don't trigger scrutiny the way obviously wrong ones do. That's what a zero correction run actually produces most of the time. Not a disaster, a quietly weaker version of what you could have had hiding inside something that looks completely fine. So what's the counterpoint over here? Before this turns into always correct everything, check every step, that's not the right lesson either, and I want to be straight about that. Correcting every single step of every task isn't realistic. Honestly, it's not even necessary. Most of what AI produces at each step doesn't need a full audit. If I did stopped and fully verified every sentence of every step here, it would have been taken longer than doing the research myself. So the actual failure wasn't I didn't check enough. It was picking zero checkpoints instead of picking the right one. The real difference between those two things, and it's a difference that actually matters for how you use it day to day. So the actual rule is this: what I do differently now. Not a full correction of every step, not every zero correction either. And I picked one checkpoint in advance before I start at the specific points where an error would actually compound into everything after it. In this task, there was step 2, the comparison step, because everything downstream built directly on those categories. That's the one step where slowing down, the rest could run loose. General version. Find a step in your process where a small mistake gets inherited by everything downstream and put your one real check there. Not everywhere, not nowhere, right at the point where an error stops being small and starts being a foundation. So, letting AI run completely unchecked isn't a disaster people assume. Using a dramatic failure either. It's a quiet, hard to notice erosion, sitting exactly where you weren't looking, and the full manual correction of everything isn't realistic or necessary. The actual skill is knowing which one step in the chain is load bearing and putting your attention there instead of spreading it thin across everything or nowhere at all. So the next time, pulling together a few of the mistakes we have covered the whole run and now showing what happens two of them hit the same task. Click on this video for the upcoming video. See you in that video.